welcome back to the show, everyone. Here to help us understand and navigate the differences between licensed in-home care and what could be referred to as under-the-table caregiving. We've got Dwight Brown with us here today with Home Helpers.
Good morning. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Dwight, this topic, we actually touch on it quite a few times on the show here on this day. I'm super grateful that you're here to talk about it again because it is so important.
It is.
So let's start off by just telling our viewers what is the difference between an in-home licensed caregiver versus somebody who is not licensed.
So I'm gonna start with a disclaimer on this whole topic that I'm not a lawyer, and so any advice that I give or anything we talk about, it's not legal advice.
And probably something that you've lived with.
Yes, I deal with this a lot. And number two, I don't want to come across at all as disparaging anyone that's working under the table. I think there are probably excellent caregivers that are getting paid under the table. They want to get paid without taxes. They work for cash. They're probably wonderful and amazing workers, so I don't want anything that I say to come across as being against them.
Fair.
So the difference is, as a licensed home care agency, I'm licensed through the California Department of Social Services. So all of my business is regulated by the state, and all of my caregivers are licensed by social services, background checked by social services, and approved to work by social services. In addition to that, they are all my employees. So I'm not even allowed to hire 1099 contractors. Everybody has to be a W-2 employee. And the reason that's important is insurance. So not only do I comply with all labor laws, paying them regular time, overtime in the state of California, they accrue legally sick time. But most importantly, they're covered by my bond, by my workers' comp, and by my liability insurance. If they were 1099 contractors, for example, I could try to get away with just giving them some money, saying, hey, overtime may not be necessary, and you need to go get your own insurance. That's not legal. So the key point to this for my clients is if somebody's in your house and they slip and fall, that's going to be on me. I'm insured, I have workers' comp insurance, and my workers' comp insurance is going to pay for their injury. The most likely scenario is a back injury, that they're helping somebody in a shower or somebody that needs help getting up from the couch, and they're going to hurt their back.
Sure.
My workers' comp is going to cover that. Another scenario that I've encountered over the years is that the caregivers will do cooking. If they burn themselves cooking, for example, that would be covered by my workers' comp. So an unlicensed caregiver working under the table, you are liable for anything that happens to them, and they can take you to court, and then it's on you to defend yourself. And there's a lot of lawyers here in Southern California. You see their billboards everywhere. Yes. They're going to start looking at other things when they start looking at that injury. Did you pay minimum wage? Did you pay overtime? So I hate to come across as doom and gloom or as scare tactics, but it's just the reality of business.
I mean, these are the things that people need to understand and be aware of. This is a very important decision that people are going to make, and with long-term potential.
Yeah.
Right? So what would be the reason that somebody would feel okay hiring somebody who's unlicensed?
So most of the cases, and I hear this a lot in Laguna Woods, in the village, I think it's pretty common for your neighbors to have somebody, they love that person, and then they start working for you. Generally, it's going to be cheaper. I would guess that the going rate is 40%, let's say, less than what I charge. And that 40% difference is payroll taxes, insurance, all of the accruals that I talked about. So I think that the main reason that people do it is it's going to be cheaper for them. For the caregivers, they're not paying income taxes, so they're going to make a little more money. And so they're appealed to the idea because they're saving money on it.
Yeah, but it's not always a safe environment in the end, right?
Well, so it's all about weighing out risks. So, and then this is maybe a personal and a family and a legal decision. So if you have a caregiver or you're thinking about hiring a caregiver under the table, I think it's something that you've got to talk about maybe with a lawyer to talk about what your risk profile is. Talk with your family about, because you're going to spend more up front, but you're taking the risk that you could lose a lot of money if things go wrong. There are some additional considerations like insurance, for example. So I'm credentialed with the VA. And when I talk about insurance here, I accept some insurances that will pay for my services. the VA pays for my services as well. They will not use, obviously, they're not allowed to use unlicensed caregivers. So if you have long-term care insurance or VA insurance, then obviously you have to go through a licensed agency. Individuals who are private paying can pay under the table, but again, it's something that you should discuss with a lawyer, a financial manager, and family to decide what risks are you taking and what would happen if things went wrong.
It always seems to me way too risky to go that route if you don't know this person, because everything starts off wonderfully, right?
Right.
You have, you're excited, both parties are excited, you have a good relationship, and then things might start to turn into sort of a resentful position between one or the other.
That's why contracts and lawyers exist, right? It always starts off friendly and nice, and then in the end it's, oh, we should have done this with a contract, or then someone goes and finds a lawyer for it. Yeah, some of the stories that I've heard here are a little more complicated too. Here in the towers, I heard the story about someone who had a wonderful caregiver for many years, and then the last few months of life, he could no longer pay the wages for that caregiver. He just was incapacitated. He couldn't write the checks. The caregiver continued coming to work. And when the gentleman passed away, the caregiver was now owed past due wages. And so he took the next of kin, the children that were inheriting the estate, he took them to court and sued them for past due wages, not paying overtime, and won several $100,000, right? So it's in California, if you're not paying overtime or you don't pay wages on time, not only are you paying back, but then there's going to be penalties and penalties on top of that. And then the lawyers are going to take their part. And so you may save some money, but the downside could be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So in a situation like that, home helpers would be there to say, okay, this person is now incapacitated, not able to take care of themselves, not able to write the checks. That's where an agency like yours will really come in and bridge that gap.
Yeah, so in a scenario like that, I would be communicating with the family, and the family would be contracting me to take care of mom or dad at that point. And so the family would then be making the decisions. My employee is going to get paid no matter what. So you're protected in that I'm complying with all of the laws. If that caregiver gets mad and isn't paid or slips and falls, it's me that's paying for it. You are protected.
Right,
so,
right.
So we not only are we managing the relationship, but I take care of many people who go through life, and we take care of them while they're healthy but declining, and then we take care of them when they're no longer capable of anything at all, and we're helping with everything. We're managing that with the family.
Mm-hmm. So it's just a constant communication.
Correct.
That everybody's aware of everything that's going on with every single client you have.
Correct, yes. And in a scenario like that one, the caregiver is talking to me about what's happening in the house, or the caregiver is working with the family, but I'm there to ensure that things are legally compliant. Mm-hmm. There are other issues as well, that the caregivers in California are not allowed to do certain medical things. So if the caregiver in that scenario is put into a position where they have to do medical things, there's additional liability that they're doing things that they're not legally allowed to do. So I have to manage that as well.
Yeah. Thank you for shedding light on all of that. I know it's such an important decision for families to make.
It's a complicated topic.
It's very complicated, but I think you've opened up the pages and it really shown our viewers the pros and cons.
Yeah, and I get a lot of phone calls asking questions about these things. I work with some actual local lawyers and fiduciaries who call me for different scenarios that they encounter. So it happens a lot.
I can imagine what you encounter.
So I'm happy if anybody has questions about that. Call my office line. I talk about this a lot. And then the first Tuesday of every month, I have a meeting at Laguna Cafe, and people come and ask me a lot of questions like this about insurance, about the VA, about under the table licensed versus non-licensed caregiving. I'm happy to answer any of those.
Right, yes. Well, and I hadn't known that about the VA offering services.
Not common knowledge. So some of us agencies are credentialed with the VA. I'm one of them. And actually it's not well known that veterans can actually get caregiving paid for by the VA. So I have several clients here in the village who are with the VA and get 12 to 16, 20 hours a week of caregiving completely 100% paid for by the VA. So there are actually 3 programs for veterans, taking care of veteran spouses, and there's one that's actually a pension where the VA will actually just issue a check that is to be used to pay for caregiving. The other two, I'm paid directly by the VA. This is something I navigate people through a lot of what are the processes of getting the VA to handle your caregiving. I get a lot of calls about this, and I kind of walk people through the process. We have a wonderful VA clinic right here on Moulton, where Polly's Pies is, and you can actually start the process there and go through the process of having the VA cover caregiving.
That is such valuable information. Thank you, Dwight.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
you being here.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after these messages with a couple of announcements. Stay with us.